Another fun day with Leadership Golden. I'm with my great friend Keith. He owns SoundsGood Auto and three places in Canada. And I, I can't say the names, so I'm not even going to go there. So I'll let Keith say the names.
Yes, Coquitlam, that's the toughest one. Burnaby, not so bad. And Vernon, you have some Vernons in
Yeah,
America.
Vernon wouldn't be so bad, but you're growing so fast, man. I'm having a tough time to, catching up. And
Well,
so,
we have another place in Port Coquitlam that does detailing. So yes, even weirder words.
yeah, so is that, let's see, that's one, two, three, four. So is that 20% at one place, 20% at another, 20% at another, 20% at another, and 20% driving to each one of them? Is that what it breaks down to?
Well, so today I'm in Vernon, and
Uh,
it's a 4.5 hour drive from my house.
wow. I'm sure it's beautiful country, though.
It is, although today it's on fire. But what are you gonna
Yeah.
do?
Well, yeah, I was sharing with Keith that, we went through fires for a couple of years. I live in Central California. Man, you walked outside, man, it was like you were camping because of all the trees. And now you go to the hills and it's not even, I mean, you see things you never seen before because those trees are gone. But,
Yeah,
it's just part of nature. So
the
anyway,
hills are
huh?
the hills are naked.
Yeah, the hills are naked. But you know what? It's been going on for a lot longer than I can remember, thousands of years, and you know what? It's going to work out. So, what's on your mind today, sir? I mean, pick my brain.
Okay, so we've been talking about leadership. Remember?
Yes, sir. Well, and let's tell the story about, that we talked about last time that, somebody left you, and
Yes.
and then let's give everybody the good report. What happened after that?
Okay, so a really key member of my team in the Vernon location gave a few days' notice, and so I was freaked out, much like any owner would be. It's like, what am I going to do? How am I going to make this work? All the stress and blah blah blah, and so I called one of my leader friends, and I needed some mentorship. I really did because I didn't know what to do. I was stressed out, and he goes, when one door closes, another one opens. And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's like, trust in God. It's like, okay, all this stuff, you know. And yeah, I rolled my eyes just like I did now. Um, but he got through to me by continually asking me questions, which is what a good leader does. And so once he got to the place where I found some acceptance around what had just happened and there was no going back, I allowed things to change. And what happened that day, that same day, was somebody else called me and said, "Hey, I'm looking for work."
Wow.
So leadership and God seems to work hand in hand.
Well, what's interesting about that when you said, trust God. I was told a story one time that this man and this woman, they were in the hospital and she was going in for surgery, and he goes to talk to the doctor, and he comes back from talking to the doctor. She goes, "Honey, is everything going to be okay?" And he goes, "Well, we're just going to have to trust God, Mama." And she looked at him with a serious look. He goes, "Has it actually came down to that?" so so when you said that, it reminded me of that story. But anyway,
We all have those stories, Del, because that's how life works sometimes, right? It's not always happy, it's not always joyous and free. There's wrinkles in life. And what do you do with a wrinkle? You can get upset and you can blow things up and you can do whatever. But at the end of any day, you need to figure out a plan of action. And doing it yourself doesn't always work.
well, what I found out is, I what I went through with, and stuff like that, and things that are just in me, I don't even have to think about. Then sometimes I'll start, something new. I'll be lost for words or something. What you cannot do as a leader is you cannot become frustrated. And because if you get frustrated, your team's going to get frustrated. And if everybody's walking on eggshells, for example, let's just say somebody messes up, and you hit you hit the ceiling. Now you got your entire team walking on eggshells. Nobody's, you know, they're afraid to do something because they feel like, if I do something, I do it wrong, I'm going to get in trouble. So they go into, like a deer with, in headlights, they just freeze. And as a leader, we always want to nip things in the bud right away, because what you complain about is what you tolerate. And if you don't nip it in the bud right away and get an understanding of the why this is important, for example, Keith, if I share with somebody, I have a client, I said, hey, look at your car be ready at 5. And everybody's walking on eggshells. The car isn't going to be ready at 5. And we just made everybody counterproductive instead of productive. The other thing is, as a leader, is I would always check in on my guys. Hey, how you doing? Hey, this is looking really good. I love the way, you did this. I don't want to just say I love the way you did it, because we want to value people. I would say, you know what, the way you did that door panel, it looks better than factory. It sounds better than factory. See, I want to go into detail because I want to value them, because they're not getting that kind of treatment anywhere else.
No, there's several ways to recognize people's talents. One is financial, of course. A nice paycheck is good. They always like that. But the little things in life that leads them along to the next thing that can make them grow to even better things are kind words.
Kind words. Well, what's interesting you say about kind is when I first asked my wife out, we were on Match.com, and I sent out my invite, and I said, as beautiful as you are, I'm sure you have men stacked up for days, but in the chance none of them will treat you as good as I will, would you consider going out to dinner with me tonight? Well, I sent off 10. The first one that came back was, thank you for your kind words. And that word kind just kept rolling around to me. Kind, kind, kind. Love is kind. Love is kind. Love is kind. Of course, a year later, she's my wife, and we've been married for over 12 years now. And so, as long as I'm treating her kind, I do not get in trouble.
Well, there's a certain whoops factor to that one.
Yeah, I could get in trouble with the wrong look. I don't know about you, Keith, but it goes the same way with our employees. Like, you give them that look, like, what the are you thinking? See, you don't have to say it, but you put that out there, and they pick up on it.
Oh yeah.
Well, how do you resolve an issue? I don't know if we talked about this, but one of my guys broke a door panel. And it's going to be about $230 to fix it. But he told me about it. And he said, hey, I'll pay for it. I go, listen, you made our company more money than you cost us. I'm going to take care of it this time. But don't let it happen again. Because I wanted to get my point across.
Well, yeah. And I like to take it to the next level. I always ask, well, how did it happen? What mistake did you make that caused this outcome, so that they never have to do it again?
Yeah, what's good about that is experience is never going to be our best teacher. Evaluated experience is always our best teacher. And if you can do what Keith just said and get your employees or your team to evaluate, the mistake they made, and then move on from there. And the other thing as a leader is you never want to bring it up again. Otherwise, go ahead.
Unless there's a point to be made. Remember the last time we did this? We had this discussion. Well, we weren't supposed to have this discussion again about this particular thing. Well, now we need to bring it up.
Yeah. And see, what I meant is if everything's the way it's supposed to be, or we don't have that issue again, then you never bring it up. But what you said is the flip side of it. That's why I love, I love, doing this with you because you have you're looking at things different than I look at things.
Mhm.
So I thought, you know what, we got this over, we're done. Let's move forward. Let's don't talk about it no more. But if they do it again,
Oops.
yeah, you want to bring it up, but you want to bring it up in private.
Oh yeah. Never chastised in front of everybody,
Right.
especially other customers.
I was hunting with this guy. Maybe I told the story, I don't know, but I was with my friend and he was a pastor. So this guy named Bill, he had these 3 Brittany Spaniels, and we're pheasant hunting. And he's cussing these dogs, man. And Keith, when these dogs point, they're looking at the bird, but you could see their eyes moving back towards their master. Like, is he going to hit me? Is he going to hit me? Yeah, exactly. And he's dropping F-bombs, and I finally got tired of hearing him. And I go, Bill, I want to introduce you to my friend, Pastor Tim. Well, you should have seen the look on his face when I did that. And I go, Bill, if you'll praise those dogs instead of curse those dogs, they'll do better for you. So the next week we go hunting. He comes up to me and goes, Dell, I can't believe it, man. I did what you said. My dogs are a million times better. Uh, Leaders, managers, if you'll praise your people more than you curse your people, they'll do better for you.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting, Keith, is those, like I have animals. It's like my wife. I get jealous of my dog. Why? Because, she'll pet them and she'll hold them and she'll talk to them. And I told her, man, if I got as much, attention and love as that dog, I'd be. What are you laughing at, man?
Oh, I could just see her petting you. It's like, oh, what a good Dell.
Good Dell, good Dell, good Dell.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, we better stop that part of the conversation. We're going too far. But
Sorry, Sonia.
but back to the praise. Now listen. Some people don't want to be praised in public. We talked about this a little bit last time. But you walk up to them and pat them on the back. Sometimes there's 5 levels or 5 ways to appreciate and value your people. Number 1, we positive affirmation. Number 2, quality time. And that means I'm not texting or doing something while I'm talking to them. It's quality time, not quantity time. And sometimes you can tell some employees they really want to spend a lot of time with you, Keith. And I know it might be hard to believe for some people out there, but I'm just jacking with you, man. But quality time, not quantity time. Then the second thing is gifts. So we talked about that but make sure, it's something that, you took the time, like I can remember a friend of mine, his son and him, they love football. Well, he was doing really good. So we took him to a football game. That was the gift, to take them to a game, pay for the game. And, I'm telling you, man, it changed his total perspective. Uh, what else do we have? Oh, acts of service. Hey, can I help you with this? Instead of, man, get out of the way. Let me show you how to do that. How many times do I have to show you this? Ooh, wee, man. That's just like dropping F-bombs.
That's like kicking your dog.
Exactly. It's not going to work. See, the things sometimes that we do, we need to think about before we do it. I teach every word matters in our sales training. And Keith, I don't know if you heard this because I just introduced it probably a year ago or so. Every word matters. Every word you say matters. Every word they say matters. Every word the way you say matters. Every word the way they say matters. Every word matters.
Yeah,
And
I knew that. So I had a mentor years ago, and he said, the little things, including the little words, they add up to a lot. So be cautious of which ones you use.
yeah, and it's the little foxes, it's the little things that destroy the vine. Now, there's another thing called falling on the sword, and what that is when we make a mistake, we go and we admit it, and hopefully we quit it. And if you owe somebody an apology, I always apologize. I never say I'm sorry. Dell, why don't you use the word sorry? Well, when we were growing up, our buddies, you sorry thing, you're sorry. See, but I apologize. Will you forgive me? So my kids, when they were growing up, Keith, I taught them this, hey, I apologize. Will you forgive me? And they go, what if they don't? I would say, then it's on them and not you. Move forward.
Mhm. I'll take you one step further on that one, Del.
Go
So
for it.
before I apologize, I correct the issue so that I don't do it again, because I hate saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry for the same thing over and over again. It doesn't work.
It doesn't mean
So,
anything.
no. So I look at what happened and how I could never, ever do that again. And then once I find out the solution for it, then I'll go and say, you know what? I really apologize for what I've done. This is what I'm doing so that it never happens again. Please accept my apology.
Yes. But you see, you verbalize, you recognize. See, that's valuing them as a human being. I read this book, Creating the Magic, great book, and he talks about RAVE. And this guy started in Reno. He was like, his responsibility was to keep the grease off the grill at the restaurant he worked at. Well, everybody belittled him because of his job. But see, his job was important because if he didn't keep that grease off that grill or out of the I guess it's called a gutter, it shut down the whole kitchen. And see, even the littlest person, or what we consider on the low chain of the total pole, that person, if you have a position for them, you need to value that position, no matter where they're at. Because if you don't, it'll shut down the whole thing. Unless you like to be, what is it, the chief cook and bottle washer.
Yes. So, but that leads into the next part. So, where I work, there's a team, and sometimes I'm the team leader. Not all the time. Somebody has some, there are periods where somebody has a better way of doing things and they lead. And that's the true meaning of leadership, is to grow your people up to a place where they could lead others, including yourself.
Yeah, well, we talked about the king of the hill. See, a lot of people, they won't help others to grow because they're afraid they're going to take their position. But let's say, like a company like yourself, it's expanding and stuff like that. You can't be everywhere at the same time. You could try, and of course, we have cell phones, we have FaceTime and stuff like that, but it's not the same. When so what we want to do is we want to grow individuals to take the leadership position. So as our business grows, or for example, my great friend who is online right now, he gets to go. A company's paying for him to go to Europe. But here's the thing: if he doesn't have the right leadership in place, he's not going to enjoy himself, because the whole time he's there, he's wondering what's going on at the shop. Right.
Always on the phone, always
Always.
checking, always making sure, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm going to go on vacation, Dell. I'm going to go enjoy myself with my wife for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I used to have a saying, before I'd go on vacation or get to go on trips like that, I'd say, "Listen, if I have to come back and put out fires, I'm going to light fires." and by the way, if you don't call me while I'm on my vacation, I promise I will not call you. And I did it. Now, what I found out though, Keith, is the guys were still calling each other, but see, that wasn't me. See, because I didn't want to, I didn't want to do something. If I listen, never say anything unless you really are going to do it. Because if you don't do it, then that makes you out to be a liar. And then that destroys the trust factor. And, one of the foundations of leadership is trust.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got to keep it. So never say anything that you don't plan on doing. Go ahead, Keith.
That's it. I was just listening and thinking, yeah, you're right. Because
So
once you break that trust, it's over.
The other two ways you value people, is we talked about positive affirmation, quality time, acts of service. We talked about gifts. The fifth one is touch. Now you got to be careful, but some people want a high five. They want to, bump their chest or whatever, or they like a pat on the back. Hey, great job. But
Wet
see,
Willie.
well, oh, see, this is exactly why I love doing these things with Keith, because Keith can be Keith and Del can be Del. We are who we are. It is what it is. Take the best and leave the rest.
To each their own. We all have a different flavor.
And we do, and we need to understand that. You see, there's really, there's 5 levels of leadership. 1, congratulations, you got a title. Okay. 2, you got a title and you have a relationship with somebody. 3, you have a title, relationship, and you know how to get productivity out of your people. 4, you start teaching other people to become leaders. And then 5, you have a legacy. So most people are stuck at level 1. Of course, if you want to know what level that you're at, if you email me at delhelpus@gmail.com, I'll send you a test for no charge. You send it back to me, and I'll tell you what level you're at. Now, you may not like it, but it is what it is. If you don't like that test, email me back. I'll send you another one. Of course, the other one asks you to ask 3 or 4 people to, kind of like feel how they feel about you. And it's really super simple. And it just gives you an idea where you're at. Because if you don't, it's like goal setting. If you don't know where you're at, that's the first part of starting a goal. You got to know where you're at. And the same thing with leadership. And another thing I want to say about leadership, Keith, is if we're a 7 and we hire 8, 9s, and 10s, and we don't value their leadership, they're not going to be there long.
Nope.
And they'll go bye-bye. And see, our best employees are leaders. Now, sometimes we make the mistake of, well, this guy has more seniority. This guy's only been with me a little while. I'm going to give the guy with more seniority the leadership position, but that doesn't make him a leader. That just means he's there longer. So back to the test, if you'll email me, I'll send you the test, and then you can give it to your employees, and you can send those back to me too. Del, why don't you charge? Because I love helping people.
Leadership isn't about money. I mean, money is a consequence of doing great things, but leadership is about helping others every time.
Well, if you do what you love, the money will come. One of my mentors who I got to meet a few times, Zig Ziglar, he said, if you can help enough people get what they want, you can get what you want. I'll say that again. If you can help enough people get what they want, if you can help the employees on your team get what they want, you can get what you want. And see, my team, Keith, they were buying motorhomes, they were buying homes, they were, they were new trucks. I mean, those are the things that they wanted. For me, a boat was no big thing. Why? Because John Madden said the 2 greatest days of owning a boat is the day you get it and the day you sell it. So I just, I figured, hey, maybe he knows something here, but it just wasn't my thing.
More $1,000 bills.
Right. But anyway, we don't want to go there, but
No.
that's just me, though.
So one of the things I really enjoy about leadership is having people do things voluntarily. They volunteer their time, their energy, their ideas, their thoughts, their experience. Now, a boss probably wouldn't get that. I mean, you might get it for a couple times, but a leader will get people just to volunteer. Like I had people come to a car show the other day. We had a show, and they just showed up on their own time, hung out, helped out, brought their kids, right? They were just part of the team, and it was really nice. I felt really loved.
Yeah. And see, they want to feel loved too. And anytime, we demoralize somebody, it's like a bank account. This will be the best way I can describe it. Every time you do, when you value them, you're making deposits. Every time you devalue them, you're making withdrawals. Well, at the end, here's the thing about a bank account, though, Keith. If you're overdrawn and you write checks, now you got to pay a penalty on top of that. And see, if you think about every single one of my employees has a bank account, but see, I have to figure out as a leader how to make that deposit. So if I just go to my bank and I throw money on the counter, and hey, I want to make a deposit, sir, you need to fill out the piece of paper. Okay, let's say I go to the ATM, and I shove my card in, and I don't know how to make a deposit, but I'm at the bank. I'm trying. Well, the money ain't getting into the account. Well, your employees are just like that. Every time, like I said, we do something, value them the way they want to be valued, not the way you think they should be valued. You're making deposits. Keith, does that make sense, sir?
And dollars.
In dollars, yeah. Now, one thing I know, Keith, 12% of the people that work for you are there for the money. 88% are not. They love what they do. And 86% of all leaders or owners or managers think people leave because of the money. And so, I've studied lots of books, read lots of books, heard lots of books. That's what I love to do. They say, one lady said, you couldn't pay me enough to work for that jerk. Because it comes to the point where it just ain't about the money.
$1 million.
It depends.
Everybody's got a price. Everybody's got a price, though. What I hear what you're saying.
But here's the thing. Sometimes the money just ain't flat out worth it, because $1 million ain't what it used to be. Would I go to work for $70 million? You know what? I'd really have to think about it, because if it's going to devalue me, and
it'd be a good week, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, I just look at things like I look at pro athletes and stuff like that, and I watch them. What's interesting to me is it's not, for a lot of them, it's not about the money. Now, when they're at elite level, they get paid, but you still hear them complaining about the team or something like that, and so they're rebuking in public, and they're not praising in public. Great example right there. And me being a Packer fan, Rodgers would call out our wide receivers. Now he moves to another team. Now he's praising everybody how great they are. He wouldn't go to the mini camps in Green Bay, and they were paying him $51 million, Keith, and he wouldn't show up. See, so sometimes it's not about the money. But anyway.
It's about principles and recognition and feelings, just so many other things. Money's always the last thing I talk about when I hire somebody.
Yeah. Well, if they're there for the money, they're there for the wrong reason. If what we do is for the money, we're there for the wrong reason. So what were your takeaways, sir? We're about to wrap this up. What are your thoughts, sir?
Leadership is a golden experience. It's a golden opportunity, and it's about the golden rule. It really is. So how appropriate this is called Leadership Golden.
Well, I came up with that name about 10 minutes before we went on the air the first time. Because it is golden. And if those who don't know the golden rule, I'm going to share with you: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. That's the golden rule. The other golden rule is whoever has all the gold makes all the rules.
Oh, I didn't hear that one before.
Yeah. Well,
I add the slang version. The slang version is "don't piss on my Cheerios."
That's why I don't eat Cheerios, and I don't eat yellow snow either, Keith. Anyway, everybody, I want to thank my great friend Keith for joining me this morning. Hey, we get up early to do this, and you know what? More kudos to you, sir. And I love hearing the praise reports. And anybody out there, you can text me at 559-259-2932 or email me at delhelpus@gmail.com. And hey, just say, hey, Dale, can you send me the test on the leadership stuff? I'll do it. I got it. It's not doing me any good on a PDF on my laptop, but it might do you some good. Anyway, Keith, thank you, sir. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks,
And
Bill.
thank
Have a great
those,
day.
you too. And thank you, everybody, for joining us. Bye-bye.